Germany's secret obsession. One of the things I've noticed living in Germany and knowing a lot of American people and a lot of German people is there's a very different attitude towards risk between these two cultures. You know, if you think about this, like a cultural level, German culture is much more risk averse than American culture, which seems to be much more risk tolerant. And then when you also like bring it down to the individual level, like when I think about the American people that I know and then the German people that I know a good amount of American people who have this sort of like, screw it, let's just see what happens sort of attitude. Whereas I'd be kind of hard pressed to find or think of one of my German friends who has this approach. It's typically much more like analytical and calculated and risk averse. And I find that to be very, very interesting, these two different attitudes on risk. And this really comes to a head and is illustrated well by Germany's secret obsession, insurance. Now, of course, we have insurance in the States. Now, remember, take what I'm saying with a slight grain of salt, because I don't even know the difference between a bee and a wasp, but I'm just going to tell you things from my experience, so I might, mess up some facts here. But like in the States, the big insurances that I'm aware of that are pretty common, like car insurance, life insurance, health insurance, like something like homeowners insurance if something happens to your home. Basically, those are like the big ones, at least, I think. But in Germany, apparently you can get insured for everything. Insurance is the safety blanket that reaches every different corner of life in the nation of Deutschland. A couple examples that I heard about that made me want to talk about this in the video was I was talking to somebody and we were talking about like court and law and legal issues. Probably talking about my legal issues with drone violations.
I need 100 black covers for 100 bad men, 100 black grapes so I can lay their hair.
Neither here nor there. And we were talking about that, and I think I said something like, wow, it would suck to have to hire and pay a lawyer for something like that. And he said, oh, well, I wouldn't even have to. I pay my lawyer insurance, my legal expenses insurance, which basically is like an insurance that you pay just in case you ever get into a situation where you need to pay a lawyer.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
So then you don't have to pay the big lawyer fees. You just are paying your monthly lawyer fees insurance, which I thought was really interesting. I mean, I've never heard of that in the States. I guess it's kind of similar to like having a lawyer on a retainer, I guess, but it's not called insurance, I don't think. Another one is like you can have insurance for your pets. Like if your pet does anything or your dog does anything, attacks somebody, bites somebody, you're insured against that. Of course, the German health insurance, which is mandatory here in Germany. I think you legally can't live in Germany unless you have health insurance. Whereas in the States, I just looked it up, it's something like 9% of people in the States don't have health insurance. Me, I'm part of that 9%. I don't have health insurance in the States. Whoops. And then personal liability insurance. Now this is an interesting one. This is for like if you yourself break somebody else's property or damage somebody's property or something like that. Like for example, I learned about this because I had a friend who got angry and batted a camera out of my hand and broke it. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry, but don't worry, my insurance will pay for that. I said, wait, you have insurance for if you break somebody's camera? It's pretty specific. He said, no, it's personal liability insurance. It covers if I do anything and I'm liable for anything. So I just thought that was really, really interesting and not something that I'd ever heard about in the States. And I think that this insurance situation is just a great example of the two cultures, different attitudes on risk, like I said. So what I want to know from you guys is if you know any other type of crazy insurance that is available here in Germany, please let me know in a comment, because I just think it's so interesting how you can really basically insure 99.9% of possibilities that could happen to you in Germany. I just think it's fascinating. So let me know, okay, guys? I wonder if there's a way to insure against all of the pain and suffering that living in the heat with no air conditioning causes. We would call that mouth insurance. All right, guys, have a great day.